Welcome to Bleed Blue, the SWOSU Athletics podcast, bringing you interviews and insights from around Southwestern Oklahoma State University.
Like I said, I just felt like it was a time to, to show what we always preach. And, our motto down here that we use for our squad is love each other, serve each other. So I couldn't think of any better way to show that.
Be in attack mode for 90.
Southwestern, get behind the Capital. Looking here.
Touchdown, Bulldog!
Around here, we bleed blue.
Now here's your host, Hailey Tucker.
What's going on, Bulldog Nation? I'm Hailey Tucker, your host for the SWOSU Athletic Podcast, Bleed Blue. And today we have a very special guest in Brad Smithey. And Brad, how are you doing, first of all? Let's start off that with the easy question.
I'm good. I couldn't be better. I'm excited that we're actually kind of getting to some normality down here. So everything's going good.
And, you recently made huge headlines. You're on ESPN, Fox, you're a former Bulldog. That's incredible to be on Fox Sports, ESPN. So can you kind of talk about why and how that experience was?
Well, we had the big winter freeze for South Texas, which y'all are accustomed to in the Oklahoma area. But South Texas, it's short weather most of the time. We got a pretty good freeze that came through, knocked out power. My power was out for 42 hours, and I know a lot of our players had power out for 5 to 6 days. And when our power came back on, me, my wife, and my parents, we were all just trying to think about how we could help our student athletes. And then we kind of came with the conclusion, hey, let's make these sack lunges to take out. So sent out a tweet to all my players, because not every one of them has a working phone number. So they all have phones that can connect to an internet or whatever. So we sent it out to try to get it out, the word out where we'll be and what times we'd be delivering. And some news outlets caught wind and, followed us around. And next thing I know, it's kind of blown way out of proportion, I thought. And it was pretty insane.
And, what was it like for you to be able, you were a former football player and, I'm sure that you've experienced that. So what was it like to be able to give back to players in a way like you did?
That's what I think, my calling as a coach is to do. I love football, the game in itself, but the reason why I love being a part of this profession is the opportunity to give back, because we're always trying to teach our athletes, the ways that they need to live. And to me, it was the perfect way to be able to put it on display and show them, when people are in need. And, you can go out of your way, even if it's just a little bread and some meat, you can do what you can do to help others to get the better of their situations. And I just felt like it was a time to, to show what we always preach. And, our motto down here that we use for our squad is love each other, serve each other. So I couldn't think of any better way to show that.
And then you're on ESPN, you flip on the sports center that day and you're right there. So kind of how was that for you being on ESPN for the day?
Yeah, I always kind of joke with my wife and my family. I always dreamed of being on ESPN growing up. I never thought it was going to be for making sandwiches, but I definitely got a kick out of that. It was a pretty awesome opportunity, something that all athletes watch and, dream of being on at some point. So it was definitely a surreal experience getting to do it. Like I said, it wasn't why I did it. I know it came to, all that stuff that came about, but it definitely was a pretty neat experience.
Well, you're definitely a selfless coach, and I know you played for another selfless coach, Dan Kelkenauer, one of my favorite people ever. So how was it? I see the Dan that, isn't the football coach. So how was it playing for him, Dan, the football coach?
Oh, we call him Dan the Man for a reason. Yeah. He, Coach Kelkenauer, my life too. He gave a little 5'8" kid at the time, 145 pounds, soaking wet, an opportunity. And I'll forever be grateful for him. And the side that you see, I'm sure is a lot more relaxed in some areas, especially because the hardships he went through during my time that he was there. Just watching him handle, the stuff that he was going on with at home and how he still showed up every day with the passion and ability to lead the way he did. It was kind of a cool deal. It was one of those things like he put on display what he teaches, how to handle adversity and how to push through, because, life's not all sunshines and rainbows. And, man, I love playing for that man. And it was definitely a blessing to have the opportunity to do so.
He gave a 5'8", 140-pound kid a chance, but you came in and immediately made an impact for the Bulldogs, which is really uncommon. So how were you able to do that coming straight out of high school?
I was just, being a coach's kid, I was a student of the game from day one. I lived in coaches' offices, and I got to really see, how the top tier athletes, separated themselves. And I was never 100% gifted with the fastest ability or to be the fastest or the strongest. And so from a young age, my dad always said, your mind is what's going to help you. And I really believe that's what helped me set myself apart from some of the other guys is the mentality that I was able to have. I could honestly say I was not the most athletically gifted in any of the classes I played with. But one thing that I wanted to make sure was I was going to work harder than you or surround myself with the people that do want to work that hard to get where we wanted to be. And I think that's what really kind of drove me.
And you guys were pretty successful during your days, and I know it's a couple years removed, but, do you have a favorite game, favorite memory from your time playing at SWOSU?
Oh, there's no doubt. It was the first game of my junior year, the year that we finally had our first winning season in so long, and it was against Harding when they were ranked, I think, number 23. Still remember it like it was yesterday. We were fourth down. Destin Steno went on a quarterback draw. Delano Chavez went and cut, and he went up over the goal line to go up, and we held him off with the last minute left. I think that was the first time because it was our first big statement win, and we felt like we were starting to turn that corner, as a program from where it was 3 years before that when they went 1-10.
And, you were an offensive player, and Harding has a really great defense. They always have. But, did it help having to play against Coach Helton's defense every single day in practice?
Oh, definitely. He, as you all know, he can be an intimidating guy, especially when you were an athlete that first coming on. I remember everything. Don't mess with that guy. So anytime you had to go against the Helton, one, you learn not to talk crap to his defense on any situation that he's around, because he would make sure you knew about it. But it definitely did. Now, Coach Helton always did a great job of making sure that our defenses were tough, and it definitely helped us out offensively come game days. And
did having coaches like Coach Helton and Coach Kokenauer, did you always want to be a football coach when you left college, or did kind of their leading the way help you with that aspect as well?
I said, being around the profession, I always saw the benefits and how awesome of a profession it is. So I always had in my mind, as a kid, like every other football player, I want to go to NFL, or mine was, I want to be a coach. I've always, from day one, I've followed in my father's footsteps. Heck, both of my brothers are coaches. My mom was a coach. So our whole family is coaches, and all of our wives are teachers. So we are very much an educational family. But I always tell, my dad, it's always nice to learn from so many different guys who've done it the right way, and it just helps me kind of reinforce the fact that this was the right profession, and there's no doubt that it's my calling, and this is what I feel like I was chosen to do.
And kind of tell the people of SWOSU who are watching this podcast right now, kind of where you're at and what you're doing right now.
I'm down at Corpus Christi, West SWOSU, which is down in South Texas. I'm the head football coach down here right now. This is finishing up my first year as the head coach. I was previously at Victoria Western Brazosport. And before that, I had actually went to the rival school at Southeastern for a year and a half. So I've had a lot of stops in my short years, I guess, as a coach, but it's been fun.
And then a lot of your former teammates, they got into the coaching profession as well. So have you been able to kind of keep in touch with them, give each other some ideas and plays or anything like that?
Absolutely. Matter of fact, Derek Shelton is probably the one I keep in touch with the most. By the way, congrats to him. He just got promoted to the OC over there at Lubbock Estacado. Kind of mad that he never came with me, but it's all good. I know he's a Panhandle boy. But no, I mean, Coach Darby, we all still talk. It's awesome knowing that there's such a big kind of a coaching fraternity, that we're, former Bulldogs, that we get to sit there and we still can bounce things off, especially guys like I said, Shelton or Murga or Darby and guys that I really grew up with playing. And, just seeing how they're thriving in their profession now has been fun to watch. I've been proud to be a Bulldog.
And then I'm going to take you back 1 second. Sorry, I forgot to mention this, but a huge thing, you played in the National Bowl after your football career, your senior season. So kind of talk about what that experience was like and how you did in that game.
It was really cool. I actually performed really well, which, as a football player, you always look at your last performance. You want to make sure it's your best. The week in camp, I had a really good week. Had a few scouts, like I said. I never expected much to come from it because I knew the statistics. There wasn't many people my size and my speed that was going to move on. But it gave me that opportunity. And I actually got a call from Montreal at that point. And so I didn't make it past the first day in Montreal, but I was able to get enough film and stuff that when USA national team was hosting the World Championships that year, I was actually able to send my stuff out and got selected. And you talk about a crazy opportunity that just opened so many doors. That's what I could say that did is USA football has now kind of opened me up to a whole new world and kind of a whole new fraternity, so to say. And it's been a blessing, some of the opportunities that's came down from there.
And do you take that mentality of, I might not be the biggest, fastest, strongest, but I'm going to beat you, basically? Do you try to instill that in your players today?
100%. We just finished up our boot camp this past week, and our big deal is you're going to earn everything, and tough people win. And that's what we kind of are trying to build our foundation on. And these kids are learning that I'm a no excuse person, that, I won't let a situation at home or whatever may be causing problems affect what happens when you get up on this building, that, hey, we all got the problems. We got to learn to push it to the side and work harder and get better. And because the teams around us ain't going to feel sorry for you, because this and that. We got to make sure we push past those points. And that's really the mindset we're trying to instill here. So there's definitely, I definitely carry that chip on my shoulder and try to preach that to my players.
And I know that you've made some trips back to SWOSU since you've been gone. How have things changed there? I know the PCEC and, some other things have changed. So kind of talk about the experience when you first walked back on campus and you're like, what the heck?
I remember walking out as a, soon-to-be freshman, and we still had tennis courts on the north side of the football field. And then playing through red dust bowls because of the big event center being built and having our whites turn red and just that good old Columbia red dirt. And, man, last time I went back out there, obviously the completion of the Pioneer Cellular Event Center, when we redid the locker rooms, the new dormitories, man, it's definitely becoming a place as far as facility wise that it's to the eye, especially a beautiful place to be. And it's definitely somewhere that I'll always call home. Matter of fact, SWOSU is still the longest place I've ever lived anywhere. So it's still, I guess you could consider it my hometown.
And, if there's a recruit or, a soon-to-be freshman at SWOSU who's playing football, what advice would you give them to be, football at SWOSU hasn't been the best, in the past recent years, but they're getting there. They're going to be there because it's SWOSU. That's what we do. So kind of give some advice to those who are coming in.
First thing I say is be all in. It's an opportunity that not a lot of people are getting, especially after this COVID year and then in this next year's class. For a high school kid, if you got an opportunity to go play college ball, it's extremely a blessing, and especially in these last 2 years. They definitely can't take it for granted, because I'm just going to be honest with you, the fun side of college, I saw ruin way too many lives. And so if you really are serious about getting there to get an education and get the most of your opportunity, when you get there, be all in with it, because that's how you're going to get the most out of it. If you go there for the fun and stuff like that, then, you're going to find yourself on the outside looking in. So just be all in.
Love that. And we're nearing the end of our podcast. And Brad, we always ask our guests this one simple question at the very end. Why do you bleed SWOSU blue?
Like I said, it gave me the opportunity, one, to grow as a person, and two, to continue education and play, the game I love. SWOSU has always kind of been a family. So I still remember Doug's first day when he came on the campus, and I'll forever be grateful to him. He's just such a genuine dude, and I don't think you can meet anybody who will say anything differently. And that's what I loved about SWOSU, is just so genuine. The people around there, they weren't ever, they never hesitated to help you out in any way possible. Like I said, Coach Kokenauer, Coach Hailey, Coach Day, Coach Collins, Coach Smithey. I could go through all my coaches that, helped me so much grow and push me past points I never thought I could get. And then Miss Kokenauer, she was like a second mom to me. She helped me so much getting ready for the teaching profession, helped me move into my student teaching and all that. So I'm forever grateful for the family around SWOSU, and man, I can't say enough good things about it.
Well, thank you so much, Brad, for joining us today. It was great to see you and great to talk with you. I swear we could talk for hours, so we got to wrap this up.
Yes, ma'am. No, I appreciate it. Thank y'all guys for having me.
Awesome. Well, and thank you so much for joining us today. We'll see you next time on the SWOSU Athletics Podcast, Bleed Blue. We host another very special guest.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Bleed Blue, the SWOSU Athletics Podcast. To learn more about Bulldog Athletics, visit us on the web at www.swosuathletics.com. And as always, go Dogs. Subscribe to Bleed Blue, the SWOSU Athletics Podcast, wherever you get your podcasts.